Hello and welcome. I am so excited about this project, so I'm going to get straight into telling you all about it. Basically, the boyfriend has commissioned a crochet shirt for festival season. Very exciting. It does feel like crochet is going to have a moment again this summer. I've seen it in a few places, men's and women's spring summer ranges. I mean, it's always, when is it not in at a festival? So I'm working on that basis. So there's a few specific inspiration examples that we found. So we have this gorgeous wax London, £125 and a few colorways, and it is called a splash, multicolour splash crochet shirt. There's also the Reese striped number, which the collar we were less partial to, but like the stripes on, and that is a crochet stripe Cuban shirt from Reese. And then also there was this other striped number which I found on Net-a-Porter. It was a brand that I'd never heard of before, but it was £500. I'm not surprised I'd never heard of it. It was called All About Brown was the brand, and it's a Thomas striped crochet cotton shirt for men. Really love the stripes again and the collar, and really like the neutral tone set off against the coloured stripe. So you can see the theme, going for stripes and a neutral setting tone and then colour for the rest. But I feel like we can definitely design something unique and tailor it to my boyfriend's palette that is way superior than any of these for him, at least superior for him, that's better than these ones that aren't quite perfect. The brief stripes, colours, he does live in a relatively muted colour palette in general life, and he does tend to sway more towards like autumn season colours. If you kind of go by the spring, summer, what colour season are you? He's definitely in the autumn realms. And obviously the pattern can't be too hard because I'm a relative crochet newbie. Never really followed kind of detailed instructions for any sort of shaping for a proper garment. I've done a few things at this point, granny square bag, I've done a hexagon bucket hat, I have done a hexagon vest again, but there wasn't much shaping in that. I've never done sleeves or anything like that. So I'm hoping the instructions need to be relatively easy to intermediate. I have done a lot of patterns before that were kind of knitting or sewing, so instructions tell you what to do. I'm hoping crochet will be fairly similar, even if the base skill's different. I'm hoping it'll go all right, but nothing too crazy hard. And so after having a really long trawl on the internet, I have landed on this pattern from Etsy. It's sold by a shop called The Missing Yarn, which seems to be a shop or crochet person based in Cambridge, which I love, UK based. The shop gets really decent reviews on its patterns, although I couldn't find any specific, it gives photo examples where people have made the item and put it in their review. I couldn't find an example of where someone's actually made and reviewed this shirt specifically, but the shop in general still gets really good reviews, so I'm confident it's okay, hopefully. The pattern uses a 4-ply cotton and it recommends a 3.5 hook, and it's even written in UK terms, love that. And there is a gorgeous women's version option, which 2 for 1, love that as well. And so if I do want to make one for myself, which is a possibility, there's the option. So here's what we're thinking for colours, and I say we because I have run through these with the client, of course. A little sneak peek, I have in fact ordered them and, approved that I'm definitely going to go for these. Really love the colours altogether. That will be a navy blue, a marzipan for the main kind of neutral base, a sage green and red clay. And these are from the Drop Saffron range, which are recommended also by the pattern. It's 100% cotton blend, ideal for summer, and it's really, really great colour selection to choose from. I got the yarn specifically from a place called the Wool Warehouse. It's a UK-based independent retailer. They're in Leamington Spa, Warwickshire, I believe. Not one I've ordered from before, but they look really good, independent to support, and the prices are very reasonable. He has decided to definitely go for a neutral base with the stripes, just like the pattern picture recommends, basically. So here is the project cost breakdown, because I love this bit of information in a project. The pattern was £7.20, as I said, from Etsy. The yarn came to £15.55 for 14 balls of 50-gram 100% cotton, enough for a men's large to extra large sizing was recommended. And I also bought 5 buttons, which were about 2 centimetres across, I think, and that came to £2.50. So the total project cost is £25.25. I did also invest in 9 ergonomic crochet hooks from Clover and More, I think the brand was called, and they were £44.99. Largely I had this project in mind, but also I fully intend to use the crochet hooks for, you know, plenty of other projects. There's 9 sizes, so I do not count them as a project cost towards this project. I'm slightly getting around the rule. And the previous hooks that I got for cheap on Vinted. They were secondhand a few years ago. It was a testing the waters purchase of crochet hooks to see whether I actually liked crocheting and whether I would do it. They're really still in perfect condition and they've done me really well. Maybe it's because I'm getting older or slightly obsessive about these things that, you know, once I've done an hour or two, if my hands are starting to get a bit, you know, tweaks and a bit tired or a bit sore in certain places, like I've kind of held my hand in the same place too long, I'm really hoping that these new hooks will be slightly more comfortable. I'm also so sorry about the Legolas ear in the last section. Honestly, it gave me such discomfort to watch through. You know what I mean, with the like elf ear kind of format. Yeah, it's not really for me. So yeah, just sorry. So picking up on where I left off, it is only like 2 months later. I have actually almost finished the crochet shirt. I wasn't very good at filming the process as usual, but I will give a review of what I thought about the pattern, what I thought about the colours, how it turned out, all that good stuff still. Okay, here's what the shirt is looking like. 97% completed. It hasn't got buttons attached yet, but I'll do that shortly. So here's my review of both the pattern and the finished product. Design-wise, I think the colours work really, really well together in this piece. They look vibrant enough for summer, whilst also not straying away too far from the muted autumn palettes, which my boyfriend will be comfortable in and actually wear. The off-white marzipan colour is also the perfect base colour. The stripe spacing as well, it's 3 stripes of colour to 4 stripes of the off-white marzipan. So I think that's a really nice balance as, you know, is designed in the pattern. Overall, the design is brilliant and I'm really happy with the colours. So my issues come down to the pattern and its instructions. And just a crucial disclaimer, I am well aware that my issues with the pattern could be mostly because I am too inexperienced and my trials and tribulations are a me issue, simply not being an experienced crocheter enough. So maybe it's more of a case of kind of beginner crocheters beware. It's worth noting as well that I tried to find the difficulty of the pattern that was advertised online and I can't see that it's got a difficulty rating on the Etsy advert anyway, but on the front cover of the PDF, after I bought it, it says 2 stars difficulty, whereas on page 2 of the PDF it then says 4 stars of difficulty. So the discrepancy might be a bit of a red flag, but I would definitely say it's not easy. Fundamentally though, I just didn't enjoy following this pattern, so I honestly wouldn't recommend it, unfortunately, which I really hate saying, especially to beginner crocheters like myself. Would not recommend. I found the instructions quite hard to follow at points, and I put a lot of wasted hours, trial and error trying to make sense of the instructions, and I had to do an awful lot of unraveling, redoing, unraveling it again, trying it slightly differently. And I ended up really quite frustrated, disappointed, and quite demotivated at points. So I do think that contributed to my kind of poor experience and how long it took me as well. I did think this project would take maybe a few weeks, and it took me a few months because I kept picking it up, putting it down, picking it up, putting it down, getting frustrated, and then kind of thinking, oh, okay, I've had a break, let me try it again. So that's kind of how it went and how it felt. Sizing wise, I did go a bit off course, and I had to make up quite a lot of the time the sizing that I wanted based on either getting my boyfriend to try it on and, you know, kind of gauging by eye and feel, or also getting one of his shirts that I know he likes the fit of and kind of laying it out flat and saying, okay, right, well, I think I need this much more to get me to match this seam here. So he does like quite a baggy, oversized fit. And so maybe that's why I had so many kind of sizing issues and deviated significantly from the pattern. So for example, I had to add quite a significant amount of extra rows into the back section, joining the left and the right arm sleeve portions together, even on top of the extra large instructions. And also I did even do a test square to gauge tension, and I also used obviously the exact 4-ply drop saffron cotton yarn that was recommended in the pattern, so those shouldn't have been too much of a factor. But honestly, I was probably inconsistent with my tension over the kind of 2-month on-off period, I'm sure, and which probably didn't help. And I did also have to buy an extra ball of the marzipan actually, because I ran out towards the end, which wasn't ideal, but that was an easy fix. And shaping wise, I also had issues mainly around the neck area, working out how much I needed to join each left and right kind of arm and shoulder panel were fairly easy to do. It was joining them that was the difficulty for sure. Kind of pre-collar was quite easy, but it's where I got the most lost and eventually ended up winging it very imperfectly. I just couldn't make heads or tails of the instructions at points, and yeah, it was actually easier for me to just make it up by trying it on, copying a shape of another shirt, and then actually following the actual instructions. So that was a bit disappointing. I actually realised it partially wasn't down to me being an idiot and lack of skills. The pattern was actually missing a diagram. So the pattern says in the instructions, join yarn in place marked on diagram, brackets, note this will be different for each piece. And I kid you not, the diagram is missing. So I thought I was losing it for a while. My mum had to check. She couldn't work it out either. There is actually a person who's left another review on Etsy saying, oh, by the way, you're missing this diagram. So I wasn't losing the plot. There is also a diagram missing, which definitely did not help my case, and probably contributed to my confusion and having to rework things quite a lot of times before working out kind of what height and where I should be joining bits or doing them up to on the front sections, especially kind of joining between the shoulders and working around the neck. But yeah, fundamentally, unfortunately, I lost my faith in the pattern, and I lost my faith in my ability and will, to be honest, to decipher it. It took me a hell of a long time and a lot more brain power than I was expecting as well to work a lot of it out, kind of my own version of it, than was really what I was expecting from buying a pattern, especially one that I wasn't planning on adjusting anything special, or you know, just wanted it to turn out like the picture mainly. But it is what it is, and maybe I should revisit the pattern again after I've done kind of 10, 15, 20 plus crochet patterns and see if I still find it pretty impossible to follow, which would confirm and indicate that it is completely down to my lack of experience. But honestly, I think I'm slightly too traumatized to give it another go. So if anyone does have any recommendations of crochet shirt patterns that they've tried and tested Also, one that does possibly have both a video and a PDF. I also find that really helpful. I would be extremely grateful because aesthetically, I really love crochet shirts still. I'm not against trying it again. Maybe I need to focus for a while on really easy patterns and patterns that do have PDF and video instructions just for me to, cross check between. I find it really beneficial for learning. So that's food for thought, something that I've learned as a takeaway, probably about myself, but maybe applicable to you as well if you are pretty beginner as well. So I'm sorry this hasn't been the most positive of reviews. I am actually still really glad that I did the project. There's a great shirt. It's absolutely wearable and I think it still looks really nice if it is imperfect somewhat. And I did also learn a lot from making the shirt. So I think there's still quite a lot of value that I put in all the hours. It wasn't wasted. So anyways, thank you so much for catching up and hopefully I will see you again soon.